Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 718th edition of the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. I'm your host, Daniel Feuerstein. I'll give you American perspective of our clubs, leagues, players, national team, and other fabulous moments. Get your daily reading from me and other writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, also beyondthe90.net. And locally for New York soccer, please head on over to baddogsports.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the chat room on YouTube is open. Come on in, discuss amongst yourselves if you like. You have a question for me, I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. And please subscribe here for your American soccer content daily. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for the start of the United Soccer League's championship season, and even though we don't have a CBA ratified, still in the negotiation stages between the players union and the league, it comes to my attention last week after I wrote my article of my thoughts about this entire situation, that the USL front office trying to talk to the union department, meaning, of course, the negotiations with the union team and their lawyer, of course. And then out of the blue, the USL decides to send every single player who performs in the second division of American soccer an email and tells them, if you want a union bust, we'll accept you. Come on over. And when I saw that, it really makes me mad. It really makes me angry that the United Soccer League's headquarters, the front office in Tampa, have the nerve and the gall to email each and every player on those clubs right now, even the new expansion teams like Brooklyn FC, Sporting Jacks, to come in and say, if you are thinking about crossing the picket line, here are the steps you need to do. Now, thank you, Jeff Reuter from The Athletic, for getting that article. And let me just stay right off the bat. I am here to promote the game in this country. What you people in USL so badly want, to challenge MLS for anything and everything. And while you bring in we're going to bring in a brand new first division league. We're going to bring in promotion relegation within ourselves. By the way, we still have a CBA to ratify here. We got to get through negotiations, but we can juggle three things into one situation. No, you can't. And because of your ignorance and because of your silliness, USL, you are now in trouble. Because even though the players did not strike in USL Championship, they played. They're showing to be in good faith to you. Yet you're not showing good faith to them. And it really makes me angry when the United Soccer Leagues that want to boast, we will be the alternative from MLS when we bring in our first division league. We will have promotion relegation. We are going to be the better product. And yet you act like, oh my God, we have to do something to deter a strike. it just really makes me upset to see this. And this is where I can't understand why they have to play these underhanded tricks, underhanded blasphemy tricks, because you're scared of the power that the Players Association has from USL and USL Championship. Really? Really? You know, I really was hoping that under Paul McDonough and Alex Papadakis, there would be adults in the room here. The real adults is USLPA. Is it my imagination that what I thought positive progress was happening, and now it's fallen straight back down the hole again? And this is from USL headquarters, USL HQ. You know, I'm here to support the game. I'm here to support the players. I'm here to support the clubs. I'm here to support all of the leagues. And if I don't like something, I will make light of it and I will give out my 2 cents. But to see what they're doing at USL headquarters is an absolute disgrace. You know, look, I'm not going to harass the broadcasters that didn't even bother making any mentions of the first minute of each match in USL Championship League play. It's fine. I don't care. It's not their fault. They're under strict orders not to go there. But, you know, USL Productions, why are you so scared of the opening minute? Why are you so scared of showing players in the opening minute of the first half standing there and doing their own protest? Why are you upset to see that? Are you scared? Are you afraid? Oh, I know it wasn't on TV or streaming, but it's all over social media. Everyone took their phones out because they knew what to do. They had an inkling this was going to happen. Maybe USL, you're in the wrong business. You know, I want you to be successful. I want you to go out there with those clubs and show everyone why United Soccer Leagues is a damn good second, third division league. If you come with the first division, fine, so be it. But still, though, what, you know, just absolutely asinine that you have to come in here and act like this. And I mean, let me ask you a simple question. And I want everyone to ask this question. I'm asking this question to everyone that's watching this show right now, whether live or on the recorded. Do you think USL can actually do the job now after what they've done for the last decade or so under Jake Edwards? Because right now under Paul McDonough, it's an absolute shambles. Just an absolute shambles. It boggles my mind. It really boggles my mind that the United Soccer Leagues had to resort to this crap because they're scared or they want to have the upper hand in all of this. I don't know. I guess maybe Major League Soccer should take over the lower levels. Maybe it should be Major League Soccer First Division, MLS Championship for Second Division, MLS League One for Third Division, MLS Next Pro for the Fourth Division, and all those clubs that are in USL League Two can join MLS Next Pro. Because to me, it looks like MLS, whether you like them or not, has a better grip of their situation than what USL does. You had to bring in Pro-Rel. You had to bring in a first division league when the real problems are this, and it's two real problems. Number one, the CBA had to be ratified. You failed that. Number two, infrastructure, stadiums. Stadiums. Not every club in the second division or in the third division has their own ground. That is what is at stake. Before you can even do promotion relegation, build your own stadiums. Build them. Then you see what you can do with Pro-Rel. Why is it everyone wants to outdo one another? Why is it different leagues want to steal this club or that club? Why? Why? This is an absolute travesty. And once again, the adults have reverted to their inner children forms. Immaturity galore. I want USL to be successful. I want USL to do well. I want all levels in American soccer to survive, thrive, and be just as good as what MLS has done. And trust me, I don't like some of the things that Major League Soccer does, and I call them out as much as I can regularly. But what USL is doing is a joke. It is an absolute disgrace. Attempting to union bust the Players Association in the Championship League. What happens now when League One teams are going to have those CBA negotiations as well? Is McDonough's going to pull the same shtick? What is USL so afraid of? Why? Why do you do this? It is absolutely disgusting. It is a joke. You're a joke. And all of the good that you have built up to this point is now gone. I don't know what everyone else will feel like in USL. I don't know how everyone else is going to be in USL, whether you work at USL or you support the leagues, you support the clubs in these leagues, in the United Soccer Leagues. But I'm going to tell you right now, that was stupid. If we're going to grow the game the right way, how about some common sense? Oh, like changing the competition calendar to the international calendar, like what MLS is about to do once this 2026 season is officially done? Well, what do you say? What do you think? You think we're going to get that? I don't think so. Because we don't have adults in the room at USL in Tampa. We have children. Foolish children. You think I like saying this? Do you think I enjoy doing this? I don't. It hurts. But what am I going to do? I have to call it out. I have to call this out because it's wrong. Get the CBA done and have that strike, which has not been done yet, but could be at any time. Get this damn deal done so you can remove and let the players remove that strike call that's looming over everyone's heads. Everyone's heads. And get the damn thing done. I am just upset. I am angry. I cannot believe that we have to talk about this crap. I'm telling you all right now, I've had enough. USL, get into the corner, get into the room, shut up, and get the damn deal done. Period. Ladies and gentlemen, tell you about tonight's segment sponsor. It is Dino Luzzi Energy Drink. When I need that extra kick to power through match analysis and late night transfer rumors, there's only one drink that delivers authentic Italian energy, Dino Luzzi. Crafted in Italy with the same passion I bring to this show, because real energy comes from real ingredients, just like real soccer talk comes from real insiders. Great show for you tonight. Joining me all the way north in Canada, in the province of Ontario. I haven't had him in a while. This is his first time on the brand new Foyce's Fire American Soccer Show. My good friend over at the 24th Minute blog, the one and only Duane Rollins on Toronto FC. Duane, long time no speak. I'm glad you're doing well, my friend. And how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Daniel. And look, it's been a long time since I've been on a podcast. I sort of in semi-retirement here. So, but for you, I come back tonight. Happy to talk about TFC and Canadian soccer anytime.
Absolutely. You know, I got to tell you, Duane, with all the success that Canada soccer's been having for, I guess, I don't know what, almost, I would say, a cycle and maybe a half, I would say, or a fourth, maybe a quarter or so. You know, just happy to see what Jesse Marsh has done for the national team first.
Yeah, look, I think that he's building on what John Herdman did. John Herdman and I have had an ambivalent history in terms of how I viewed him, but he did take that team from a very low place to get them to a World Cup, of course, and you can't dismiss that. But Jesse Marsh has just built off of that and has taken this team to a place where I think that they could legitimately make some noise in this World Cup if they get some bounces. And then the draw has been entrusting to them. They have Qatar in there, which I think is a very winnable game, and probably Italy, which is going to be a challenge, but and Switzerland, obviously, to finish it off, which is you never sleep on Switzerland in a World Cup.
Never.
But you know what? It's not a group that it would be outrageous if they got out of, and if they did that, that would be a tremendous accomplishment after many years in the wilderness with that team. I've been on your show in I don't know what iteration it would have been, but talking about I think I was on your show after the 8-1 loss against Honduras. So, it's been a long and winding road.
Yep, it really has. Let's go to Toronto FC now. That's an amazing pickup for Toronto. Getting Josh Sargent. We know what he's done at Norwich. I know he has not played a match yet for Toronto, but still, though, I know that under Robin Fraser, once he gets acclimated in training and once he feels he's fit enough to go out there and play a full 90, you're going to get yourself a damn good player. Just like the days when both Michael Bradley, now the head coach of Red Bull New York, and Josie Altidore came over and got Toronto an MLS Cup championship.
Yeah, when you look back at that 2017 team, a lot of people quite rightfully remember Sebastian Giovinco and what a dynamic player he was. Arguably, at that time in the history of the league, the most dynamic player that ever played in MLS, and certainly he's left a lot of legacy here in Toronto. But the bones of that TFC championship run and the big run in the CCL the next year was really the domestic talent, the talent that they had in Josie Altidore, and just the solid depth that they had across the board. Now, this TFC team does not have that depth right now, but they have focused almost entirely in the rebuild in bringing in domestic proven MLS quality. Josh Sargent has not played in MLS, of course, but he's the profile of a guy that you could see being quite successful in this league. They paid a lot of money for him, but MLSE is an ownership group that has some money to spend. They have always been willing to spend it. They have not always spent it in the right way. We don't need to belabor the last choices they made with the two Italians, but I don't think you can blame them for trying in that particular case. You can blame them for making a poor choice. That's all that happens in football. I think that Josh Sargent truly offers TFC an opportunity to return to where they were. Also, the other moves they made throughout this. We watched the game against Cincinnati this past weekend. A bit of a surprising result. They've struggled to get. I think everyone's struggled to get points in Cincinnati the last few years. Toronto went down after a really poor result in the West Coast to go down and get that 1-0 win with Soleil getting a goal, first goal for the new club. That's a big pickup too. Let's not sleep on that one. More MLS proven goal scoring there, right? That was the weakness last year with this team. They had a run of something like 8 straight draws where they tightened things up, but they couldn't get a goal. A bit of promise there. Still a lot of work, but I think Josh Sargent, if he comes in and acclimates quickly, the fitness comes back, can be a very worthwhile DP signing, and a DP signing that is counter to what they were doing with the two Italians, which again, not to belabor it, the less said the better. How that worked out.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. And you know what? I have to tell you though, um, tough loss in Vancouver, obviously. The Whitecaps have been tremendous from the start of last season when Sorensen took over the club. And who would have thought Thomas Mueller would have been a superstar as soon as he gets off the plane and into the airport? And already he's the darling of all Vancouverites. But still, though, Toronto, big win on the road against an FC Cincinnati side. We all know how difficult Cincinnati can be at TQL Stadium. That was an amazing defensive effort to get their goal, put it in the back pocket, and just defend, and get the full 3 points this past weekend.
Well, yeah, because I mean, look, there were rightful questions about the back line coming out of the first two games of the season. Just they had some good effort in that opener against Dallas, but they couldn't really. They allowed 3 goals, and you can't allow 3 goals and expect to win many games. And then the Vancouver game, once that first one went in, it was one-way traffic. As you mentioned, look, that full credit to Vancouver. That's an MLS Cup contending team right now. Toronto's not there. Then they have stars, and they were able to. Well, they have a star, and he was able to produce it in that particular case. So look, to get a result against Cincinnati, heading into the home opener next week, that's a really important get. You can say what you want about the first 2 games. To get 3 points out of the first 3 games on the road to start the season, they take that at the start of the year. It's a cliche, but it's a true cliche. They get a result in the home opener. They get a little momentum back with the fans, which they have to make up a little bit of will with the fans here in the city. And suddenly they have 6 points and they're right in the mix. MLS is a funny old league that way. You build and you stay in touch. Well, you get Josh Sargent up to speed, and you never know what can happen. There's just still more work. The depth is not there with this team to make a big run, to make a long run, to be a contender for things other than the Canadian Championships, perhaps. But they have the bones there, and it really comes down to me, to Robin Fraser, and the choice to give him the permission from the MLS ownership, to give him the permission to not go after the sexy signings, which I think they kind of got stars in their eyes after the MLS Cups, and ownership there sort of thought that Toronto was a big market. Well, they are a big market, but they were a market that needed stars and needed firepower and needed to be making signings that turned heads elsewhere, when really what you need to do is make signings that work in MLS. And they'd forgotten that for a few years. And I think that they're back at it. I like the way that they looked at the end of last year, despite the fact they couldn't get a goal to save their lives. I thought that there was a base there that they could build on. And I like what Robin Fraser's done. I was very happy with the Robin Fraser hiring, jumping all over here, Daniel, but I haven't been on a podcast in 2 years. I was very happy with the Robin Fraser signing, in the sense that I thought that showed understanding of the need to first embrace what worked for them in the past, because of course Robin Fraser was part of those championship teams, but also to be willing to look at MLS proven that American and Canadian talent and prioritize it, which they have.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask you, you get Yarborough coming over from Colorado for your starting goalkeeper position, I believe. How has he been so far in the first 3 matches for the club, I should say?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw a bit of it adjustment in the first couple of games, but look, you mentioned the defense, and it starts at that back position, right? So it's always an adjustment. You always have to. The position last year was you don't want your best player to be a goalkeeper, and he was the best player on TFC last year, right? And it was the right choice to move on from him. So to bring a veteran in that will able to stabilize thing and work with, sort of the spine of that defense, which is also veteran laden, to hopefully give them the time to allow that attack to develop and work in this MLS standards. Again, this is not a championship team yet, and that's not an insult. This is a team that needs to build. You're going to spend your money on that keeper when it's time to make that big push. That big push is going to be 27, 28, not 26. 26 is get our head out of wherever it's been for the past few years, get this team back in a playoff, get some excitement back. We have the World Cup here in a few months, barring the world blowing up, but that's another conversation. Um, you know,
It's a different
hopefully
conversation.
that'll
Yeah,
build
but
the
go ahead.
excitement. Yeah, yeah, it's a much different podcast. We will, yeah, the excitement, we got to build on it. We got to take advantage of that. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and TFC fans can hopefully take some pride going back to that stadium next week. I'm looking forward to get back in there. And, there were games last year where it seemed like a chore to go in the early part of the year, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be like that next week.
Exactly. Obviously, Walker Zimmerman took a nasty head collision during the last match. Obviously, he said, "Take me out. I'm done." Have you heard any progress at all on how he is? He's in concussion protocol. What have you heard?
Yeah, no, I can't update yet any further than that at this point. But obviously, we wish him well, and you've got to make the right choice. Long season in MLS, and you can't screw around with head injuries anyway. But by and large, yeah, Walker Zimmerman was an interesting. I don't want to speak ill of an injured player, but he's an interesting signing anyway. I wasn't, of all the signings they made, he's the one that I was the most concerned about, because I wasn't sure whether he hadn't lost a step. I think he has lost a step quite clearly from his peak years, where he was the best defender in MLS. But again, I mentioned that veteran presence, the veteran presence up the spine, to try and add some stability here. It's, I understand the choice, but there were questions with that, and I think the defense is still going to be where you're going to have to. You're going to wonder. You're going to pray a little bit if you're apt to pray watching TFC hold leads this year, I think. But good job on Sunday. So step one there.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent first step. Overall, like you said, this is just a rebuilding year, obviously. And you like the signing of Robin Fraser as your head coach. Look, I thought it was a great signing as well. I hold Robin Fraser at the highest regards at the club level, whether, former player at the Galaxy, was an assistant at the New York, or should I say now Red Bull New York. Now they've switched it around. Colorado Rapids, I thought he got sacked for the wrong reasons, but hey, what are you going to do? I think it's more front office and ownership than it was him. So I still feel Toronto's made an excellent choice for the head coach, and you can already see that the subtle changes in that starting 11 and who he brings on off the bench.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think what really matters there too is that the players seem to react to him. You look at a really simple signing, a signing that's not going to get a lot of play. Raheem Edwards taking him off the waiver wire and bringing him home speaks to the fact that he's building that culture back and getting some trust in people that lost trust in the organization. Raheem's a player that was very angry with TFC when he left. For him to come back and play a contributing, hardworking role shows that the players really play for them. Get guys like Richie Larea buying in too. Like Richie Larea, God, Richie Larea is one of my favorite players of all time. I love Richie. I love his passion. I love that he's a sandpaper player, and he's just a guy that's going to lead by example out there. He's got the buy-in, Robert Fraser, from those folks, Jonathan Osorio, the captain, people that matter a lot to the fan base and matter a lot to this team. And when you have that, and you can build off that. A lot can be done in MLS with less. You can be greater than the sum of your parts if you have buy-in to a system, if you have acceptance. And Robin Fraser can, he can point to the ring. He can wear the ring in and show that. He can point to that trophy in the trophy case and say, I was part of that. If you want one yourself, you're going to have to listen to me. And that those guys are going to do that. I'm not sure, there were a lot of twists and turns in the coaching situation after Greg Vanney left. And, choices were made that maybe shouldn't have been made. There were, with less said about John, the better in terms of how that ended. But Robin Fraser, they kind of like lucked into it a bit because of the way that they had to make the move. But I think it was the right move to go back to that history that they had, to go back to that success that they had, and let them try and, rebuild it again is the right way to go.
It really is. And I guess finally for me, is it crazy for me to say that I know Toronto is hockey mad with the Maple Leafs, baseball mad with the Blue Jays, basketball mad with the Raptors, and CFL mad with the Argonauts, but are they World Cup mad now in Toronto? Are they excited for this? Are they can't wait to see the World Cup, Not the under-20s that came many years ago,
Yeah.
not the Women's World Cup. This is now the Senior Men's World Cup coming here to North America. Is everyone in Toronto ready to throw a party?
That is an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, I think yes is the answer. I think that you're going to see a big buy-in from that. Obviously, the ticket prices are a conversation point here, as they are everywhere, as they should be everywhere. Um, if Italy is drawn into this group, if for those that don't know, the Italian population in Toronto is New York, Montreal, Toronto. Those are the places with massive Italian expat populations. They're all within driving distance of Toronto. If it is Italy coming here for that first game against Canada, I'm not too sure what that crowd's going to look like because it's pretty expensive. But I've said when that draw happened, I was laughing. I was talking to some of my Italian friends and saying this is the opportunity that us Hoser fans have been waiting for our whole lives to shut them up, to finally shut them up. Look, and all respect to them, they've played huge roles in building soccer in this country. The Italian Canadians have, but it's time to shut them up because they also tend to not wear the red when it comes to cheering for the national team.
Exactly. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's time to take away the blue and bring in the red. Come on, you Italian Canadians. You got to go with my man Duane here. You got to go and support Canada because you helped them build this. Now show what you truly mean to this country. Wear those red jerseys with the maple leaf above the soccer ball. Duane, I know you're in semi-retirement. I always appreciate you coming on. If you ever want to come back on, you have the door is always open for you. I always appreciate you coming on. Good luck with Toronto this season. This upcoming weekend, you're facing the Red Bulls, and we'll see what happens. 1 o'clock this coming Saturday, of course, on Apple TV. Not season pass anymore, thank God. Straight up Apple TV. Duane, as always, I appreciate your time. I thank you, sir, and you have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Duane Rollins, 24th Minute Blog, talking about Toronto FC and what they are going to do with Robin Fraser and, of course, Josh Sargent. My next guest, he had to record with me tonight. He is now officially a free agent. He is a Chicago sports enthusiast, but he was glad to join me tonight, or should I say to record with me, that magical moment, the groundbreaking ceremony for the brand new Chicago Fire Stadium in the Loop in the 38 in downtown Chicago, Illinois. The one and only Ruben Tisch. And here is that recorded interview right now. And welcome back to the American Soccer Show as we are going to discuss some great things going on back into the city of Chicago. Yes, the Windy City. Yesterday, on Tuesday, March the 3rd, it finally happened. Groundbreaking ceremony for the new stadium for the Chicago Fire. And joining me right now, a social media weirdo, but a wizard as well, Ruben Tisch joining me tonight over in Chicago. Ruben, thanks again for joining me. Hope all is well. Fantastic news, of course. The groundbreaking ceremony happened. From your own eyes and your own words, my friend, tell me how that felt to finally see shovels in the ground. I believe it's in the Loop area of Chicago. What was that like for you to finally see the beginning of something being constructed and built?
For me personally, relief, I guess, is the best way to put it, because now I don't have to hear about it anymore until until it's done for the 28-29 season. I genuinely, this first of all, obviously this is a genuinely momentous occasion for the club. Bigger probably than the first time they tried this when AEG owned the team back in 2004 when ground broke out in Bridgeview. How long ago that was. I was still in middle school. I obviously um, the new stadium is great, but the thing that ultimately is going to matter for the club is the results on the field. There, if you can have the greatest stadium in the world, but if you don't have anything worth watching, nobody's going to show up. I think that uh, it is hard for me to quantify because of that, but obviously it's something that um, the club have wanted, and they got with, interestingly enough, very little pushback when you compare it to what's going on right now with the Bears. So I think that ultimately it is going to be one of those things that is a touchstone moment in the history of the club. I think you're gonna see this, maybe not as high as the debut double, but right up there in terms of importance.
No, I agree. I mean, look, I think we all know that the current issues with the Chicago Bears of the NFL does loom very large for Chicago. Hopefully, it can be rectified. They won't move out of Soldier Field, or they won't move out of the state of Illinois. Hopefully, something can happen there. But for American soccer and for this club, it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, look, I was happy when they built the stadium out in Bridgeview. I was like, good for Chicago Fire fans. I mean, granted, a bit of a travel, a bit of a trek, but still, though, the number one issue was building a stadium for yourselves. And now you don't have to worry anymore. Once this thing does get built in the downtown area of Chicago, you don't have to run all the way back to Bridgeview because there's interference with a Chicago Bears game or an MLS scheduled playoff game or a regular season game.
Or a
You don't
Sabrina
have to
Carpenter
worry.
concert.
And a Sabrina Carpenter concert or any other type of interference at all.
Yeah.
You have your stadium downtown Chicago. If there will be interference, you just grin and bear it now because hey, look what's being constructed. A brand new home, a brand new fortress for the Fire and for all Chicago soccer fans.
It's funny, as an aside, that the Bears are looking at is closer to downtown Chicago than Arlington Heights. So
Yeah.
I think this whole Indiana Bears thing is way overblown. I think it's a stupid talking point that look, if the state of Indiana, who just wanted to bankrupt their schools, who just bankrupted their schools and had to lay off a bunch of state workers, wants to give a bunch of money to the Chicago Bears to build a stadium, and the city of Chicago is going to reap all the benefits of that stadium anyway, whatever. But that's not why you called. It's great. Yeah. Stadium, good. More importantly, in the short term, there's the Midwest Derby this weekend. We get to go to Columbus, Ohio, and hopefully win in Columbus for the first time, I believe, since before COVID. I don't remember winning in Columbus before then, at any rate. So it's been a while.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it. What do you have to say about Mr. Mansueto, your owner for the Fire, that he's doing it all with his own money? I mean, obviously the city will put in money for the, infrastructure.
Yeah,
to
there's
help
$700 million in TIF funds to build the roads and stuff, but that's part of the overall development of the space. I mean, it's how it should be done, right?
Mhm.
You've got you know, until sports owners stop thinking of their the sports teams as a toy for them, and like, oh, I own the Chicago Fire, I own the White Sox, or I own the New York Jets or whatever. Until they stop thinking of them as we own this thing and start thinking of them as stewards of civic institutions, no, there should not be any public money going towards. Obviously, it's your thing. You own the team. House, the city's not going to pay for a new kitchen. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yep.
yeah, this is how it should be done.
Yeah, exactly. This is how it should be done. Just like I believe it was the new Cubs owners, I believe, that redid Wrigley Field, made it
Yeah.
better internally.
They also
Just
bought up all of the surrounding properties, and now it's a thing.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And because I think I remember, yep, George Steinbrenner, he built the brand new Yankee Stadium all on his own dime. Red Bull Energy Drink Corporation, they constructed the stadium for their, for their MLS club to play in Harrison. So I mean, that's the best way to go. It really is. Yeah, they have the money. Just go ahead and just build the darn thing yourself. And it's just wonderful to see the initiative done by Mansueto to just go out there and say, I am going to do this. This is what I need to do because I believe in this team. I believe in my coaching staff. I believe in the fans. I believe in everyone in this city because this is the city that I love so much. And, all great power to him for getting this done. What was it like seeing the dignitaries from the city of Chicago? Probably also, I'm assuming Governor Pritzker was there to help with the groundbreaking ceremony with the shoveling, and of course Commissioner Don Garber of MLS being there for this great day for the Chicago Fire and all Chicago soccer fans.
If he was there, Governor Pritzker didn't speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't there. I watched it. ABC, the ABC affiliate here streamed it on YouTube. So that's how I watched it. It was funny. It's always funny at these things, seeing city officials who ostensibly don't care about these things have to speak on them. It's funny. Mayor Johnson brought up every time they brought up the World Cup. It's hilarious because the city of Chicago is not involved in the 2026 World Cup at all. I don't even think we're getting a base camp here.
No.
For any team, which is very funny considering like, okay, we're not getting any games. Soldier Field's too small. It's dumb, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
We don't even get a base camp, even though it's probably the best place in the country for a base camp, considering the locations of all the games, plus up to Toronto. But we're not even hosting a team for training, which is very funny. So seeing the alderman and Mayor Johnson bring up, oh, we're having the World Cup this year. It's like, no, we're not. But other than that, it was refreshing to see the care that ownership and the fan base has in the club reflected back from city officials. even if they really don't care. Although the mayor does have kids who do play, so that's funny. And the older woman admitted that she is more of a basketball fan, and she's like, maybe I'll be a soccer fan. It's just silly and grandstanding. Just put the shovels in the ground, start building, and go play. All right. Like I am not really like I understand why these things happen, but I don't really care about the pomp and the circumstances, and the city doesn't really either. Just do the thing. I'd rather talk about, the actor from Ted Lasso getting a tryout with Fire 2 this week.
Yeah. Yep.
Or like I said, the game against Columbus coming up. Those are the things that I personally find, they're more important than the stadium. The stadium will take care of itself.
No, absolutely. I know what you're talking about. Believe me, I know where you're coming from, because shouldn't everything be like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or a Tex Avery cartoon? You go to the Acme store, you get one of those jars, and it says "Quick Building House."
Yeah, you open it and you pour it out.
Yep. And then you pour water on it, and then
yeah.
If only that could actually really happen. If that could actually really happen, it'd be great.
Yeah, I'm much more worried about Andrew Gutman being injured than whatever is going on with the stadium.
But still, though, that really had to be, finally it's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's great.
Yeah.
And I know that's the news, right? Like it's great that like that is happening finally. And I'm chuffed. I'm honestly happy that it's getting done, and that it's getting done responsibly. But like I said, that is, and it'll be interesting to see the stadium be built. It'll be interesting, come September.
Yep.
It'll be super interesting to see what everything, how it's coming along and the progress. But like I said, it's one of those watched pot never boils things.
Exactly. How many times are you going to take a visit to the area to see how the construction progress is going? Will you
probably
stop
once
by
or twice? Yeah, I'll check on it probably close to the All-Star break. If I'm down to Soldier Field for a game, I'll go over and take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll go faster if I don't look at it.
Yes, I understand. I'll admit, I had the webcam. I had the webcam problem every single time I'm looking to see updates on, what's being built here, what's being built there, what's going on, going on. Did they finish? Are you done yet? Nope, not yet. Still going.
Were you able to see the Woman Conde jersey getting put into the foundations?
I did not, actually. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it. I've seen the pictures from, here and there, basically the groundbreaking, Garber with Mansueto, and I think with another person from the club. And
I was talking about RBA, the fire jersey buried under Red Bull.
Oh, no. I did not hear about that one.
Oh yeah, because the construction crew that built Red Bull Arena was from Chicago. They put a Chicago Fire Woman Conde jersey.
Oh, geez.
So
that thing's
Red Bull Arena is actually the third home of the Chicago Fire behind their new stadium and Columbus Crew Stadium.
Man, I guess I gotta have to find a way to dig that sucker up.
Yeah,
Even though I know God they played for us.
being owned originally by Philip Anschutz means we run.
Yes, exactly.
Actually.
Exactly.
The secret cabal of Major League Soccer is actually just 3 Chicago Fire fans in a trench coat.
That's too good. I'd like to see that picture.
No, you
Are they
wouldn't.
wearing those fedoras? Are they wearing those fedoras like
the one on top is wearing a fedora. The middle one is actually just a Monty Ralph, and then the bottom one is what was left of Jorge Campos's career after Zach Thornton took his starting spot.
Good old Zach Thornton. You guys got lucky when you got him from the Metro Stars in the expansion draft in '98.
Yeah.
Such a really good goalkeeper. Such a great goalkeeper he was.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Unbelievable. Ruben, I always appreciate your time for being on the show. Thank you again. Congratulations once again to you, all Chicago Fire fans, supporters. Can't wait to see what the construction timeline will be. And, the shovel's already in the ground. Time to get all the construction crews and build that sucker. It's time to go. It's go time.
Yep. Just in time to not build a dome stadium before they switch to a winter schedule.
Exactly.
Super excited.
It should be a lot of fun. Thanks again, Ruben. Take care.
Hey, no problem.
Ruben Tisch, Chicago sports writer, as we talk about the Chicago Fire's brand new stadium, of course, the groundbreaking ceremony that happened over at 38 section of downtown Chicago. I'm excited. And, it's about time that this sport finally gets first dibs. Not baseball, not basketball, hockey, American football, soccer, football. We get first dibs finally. And it's great to see. Very, very happy to see that. So, excuse me. Before I talk about the Red Bulls and the Red Bull review, I have to make a mention of this. Now, when you flip through Twitter, or if you're watching the women's national team and you watch all the men's and women's national team broadcasts for friendlies, and of course, World Cup qualifying through TNT at Turner Sports, Julie Foudy, who is at the desk, and at the same time, she does the analyzing when they're in the booth, got upset when she gets the roster from the Argentinian Football Federation, or the AFF, and she gets the players' names, she gets their jersey numbers, but they don't give her how many caps they've played for the national team and what are their goal totals on the national team. Now, obviously, she went on a tirade. And look, I am not here to challenge. I'm not here to go against her. I don't blame her when she has to do a job. Obviously, she's going to know the notes and the stats of all the American women on the women's national team because U.S. Soccer does their job. But when it's the men's game in Argentina, they'll have all their stats. If it's the women's game, they won't have their stats. And of course, she exploded during pregame in the She Believes Cup on TNT through U.S. Soccer. Now, as I've said, I understand Foudy's gripe, and I do agree with her. This should not be happening. And I understand she's annoyed. But how does that help the American audience, number one? How does it help the women's national team fans, number two? How does it help American soccer, number three? It helps none of us. She had a personal gripe, and she's free to explode about it. My suggestion to Miss Foudy, and if Julie, if you are watching this program, if you're watching on YouTube right now, let me just say this. It's really simple, Julie. All I can say is either contact CONMEBOL, because I don't think the AFF is going to care. And I understand there are some South American sides that probably don't do this either. It's really simple. Go to CONMEBOL, ask some of the women footballers who are regularly on the national teams, go to the CONMEBOL offices. I don't know where they're located in South America. I have not looked it up. I can look it up right now while I talk to you and see where they are. But, go to CONMEBOL and, complain to them. Tell them that their constituents, which would be the Argentinian Football Federation, and any of the other 9 South American confederations, and they are located in Liqui, Paraguay. Go to CONMEBOL in Paraguay and lodge a complaint. And you can tell them, Julie, you're analyzing, you're a former player. You're complaining because you're an analyst and you want to do your job the right way. And I completely understand. Whoop, I don't have my microphone down here. My bad. As I was trying to say, hopefully everyone heard that. Foudy's upset that there's no stats for the Argentinian women's national team for caps and goals. So, like I was saying, Julie, go to the offices of CONMEBOL and complain. And tell them to inform their 10 national teams, anytime any of their female national teams, or if they do have, outside of Brazil and Argentina, a women's national team. I think also Colombia has one. I don't know. I don't know if any of the other countries have a women's national team, but if they do, or if they, then let them know. Please put in the caps and the goals on the roster sheets so that analysts who have to do games involving their national team, or meaning if you're playing England, you have to play the Lionesses, and it's either Argentina or Brazil, they need to know the caps and the goals for those players that get called in. Because she wants to do her job right. And that's all I want to do. I want to do my job right here for this show when I'm covering the Red Bulls, I'm covering American soccer, I'm covering the sport as a whole. I want to do my job too. I want to go and do my job as well. So, simply put, Julie has every right to complain about this. I think she's aiming it at the wrong people when she had her complaint on air. I think she should do that at the offices of CONMEBOL in Paraguay. Now, if CONMEBOL won't, move forward with her request, then she should take it up with FIFA and let FIFA hammer it down to CONMEBOL and the 10 national teams who do have women's national teams, and let them know. Keep track of their stats from here on out. From this point forward, any of the 10 nations in CONMEBOL who does have a women's team like Argentina, that does have a women's team like in Colombia or in Brazil, you will keep track of their statistics and how many caps they've earned for the national team on the women's team. Because it's not fair and it's not right. We cannot have our broadcasters and our analysts flying blind for no reason. It's wrong. And it has to be done. And it has to be said. It is absolutely unequivocally wrong. CONMEBOL, step up to the plate, or shall I say step up to the pitch, go out, and do the damn job. Now it's time for the Red Bull New York review as they hosted FCF Montreal, and they fall in their first match of the season to Montreal by a final of 0-3. Now, I am not upset about the loss. In fact, it was coming because everyone has to understand, sooner than later, allowing 8 goals in their first 2 matches, Montreal, 5 in San Diego, 3 in Chicago, they were bound to score and they were bound to have a better game. And that's fine. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. They did their best. Still a young team. They're going to go through a game or 2 like this during the season. It is understandable. And this is what happens when you do bring up youth. This is going to happen. So don't be upset about it. Leave it alone. Just chalk it off as bad game. It was bound to happen. It happened already. It's only the 3rd game of a 34-game regular season schedule. Move on. But what I do not like and what I cannot stand is a referee who is incompetent and cannot officiate for one side and one side only. Now, I'm going to talk about Sergei Boyko. I understand he's a tough referee, and that's fine. I don't mind a tough referee. I want a hard-nosed referee that's not going to take the guff from the players, whether it's for the club that you support or the opponent that you don't want to support. I understand all that. It's understandable. I want a tough referee. I also want a fair referee. And when I see a referee not doing his job, I'll call him out. And Boyko is now that referee who had a horrible day. So Red Bull fans want to know, what did I think about the penalty? I'll admit I didn't think it was a penalty because he did get the ball, because Che did get the ball first. But because I do have a friend who is a former referee himself and knows the laws of the game very, very well, it was a penalty not because of the stealing of the ball, because Che did go through the player or he intentionally tangled himself into the player's legs. And that's why the penalty was called after he won the challenge on the ball inside the area. So, look, I defer to my friend. It's okay. I understand. I will give Boyko that one. The no-call foul when Julian Hall got taken down from behind. That was a free kick. Boyko didn't call it. That's crap. The Emil Forsberg foul call inside the Montreal area where there's barely any contact, that's crap. The awarding of a throw-in for Montreal because it was last touch by a Montreal player at the far side touchline in the first half, that's crap. You want to complain about the free kick given to Montreal for Week Carmelo's first of 2 goals? Okay. You know what? That could be either or. But I'm going to go edging towards crap. I did say the first 44 minutes. Now I have to go back a little bit because that was what? Yeah, first 40 minutes. I'll go with the first 40 minutes. Or should I say the 40 minutes after the 4th minute? That one was a bunch of crap. And I'm sorry. Look, like I said, I want a tough referee. I don't mind a tough referee. I don't mind. That's great. That's wonderful. Gotta be tough for both sides. And when you're not tough on both sides, I'm calling you out. I don't want to talk about the referee. I really don't. I want to talk about how bad the Red Bulls played. And even though they did play badly in this game, and it was bound to happen, Boyko caused some of that frustration for no reason. I give praise to referees who officiate matches brilliantly. I criticize referees that did not do a great job and was one-sided. And if there are times that they were one-sided for the Red Bulls and not for the opposition, I will go on that too. Because it's wrong. It's flat out wrong. And all I'm asking from Boinko is to do your damn job the right way. Do your job the right way. That was a foul on Julian Hall. He got taken down just outside the area. Should have been a free kick. That was not a foul on Forsberg. The throw-in should have been awarded to the Red Bulls when the Montreal player intentionally kicked it over the far side touchline just before the 40th minute. I'm a little hit with that first free kick for Montreal in the 44th, so you know what? I'll let that one go to the bit. But you were horrible in those 40 minutes from the 4th minute through the 44th. The rest was on the Red Bulls. They were terrible. Wiki Carmona comes back. He's got 2 goals. Good for him. Happy for him. You know, he did a good job with the first one. The second one was more of a gift. Took advantage of a poor distribution by Ethan Horvath to Adri Mehmeti. And you know what? Like I said, this is going to be growing pains. This type of season, these type of games, it's going to happen. Hopefully not frequently, but if it does, so be it. And so far, the club is now 2-1. They are no longer at the top position of the Eastern Conference. It's only been 3 games. Just relax, and we'll see what happens down the road. Other than that, I think this is the start of something fantastic. Do they need some more veteran presence out there? Yes. But for now, they're doing okay. But if they don't do okay this season, it's all right. Because this is about the future for the club. Just like my friend Duane Rollins over in Toronto said, this is not their year, Toronto FC. It's about building something for the future. And that's the same thing here for the Red Bulls. Building something for the future. Do not assume this is a Shield winning team. Don't. Just go out, watch them play, support them, and we'll see what happens. It's more about next season than this season, that's for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my guests tonight. I want to thank Duane Rollins for 24th Minute Blog, and I also want to thank Ruben Tisch. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Join me this coming Friday night for the CONCACAF Champions Cup first leg review for the round of 16. All MLS reporters, hopefully all of them, will join me to talk about their clubs over in the first leg in the round of 16 of the 2026 CONCACAF Champions Cup. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. And as always, please, I beg of you, please, 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 enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. And have a good night. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.